One thing I notice so much in our current society and all over social media is this obsession with productivity or purpose. Doing everything as fast as possible, rushing from one task to the other, trying to get things done instantly, chasing that overnight success, and almost treating life as a checklist rather than this experience to actually savor. And that's what I actually love about the French approach to life. It's really about slowing down, savoring the small moments of life, and bringing intentionality and presence into every facet of life. And when I'm talking about slowing down, I'm not talking about matcha lattes or match workout outfits or going to Pilates. Not at all. I'm talking about actually bringing presence and depth into your everyday moments, into the most ordinary moments. So today I will be sharing with you 7 French elegance secrets for a life that feels simple, effortless, elegant, and joyful, especially in a world that constantly pushes women to not embrace their femininity, to not savor their life experiences. Hello, beautiful ladies. Welcome back to another episode of Mademoiselle Diaries. I am Aurelia, the founder of Mademoiselle Diaries, and I am on a mission to help you become the most beautiful, elegant, and feminine self. First and foremost, as you ladies always come up to me asking all about elegance and the French way of living, I decided to dedicate 4 weeks starting September 8th to dive deep into the French way of living and for you literally to become this modern mademoiselle. We'll be diving into art de vivre, table manners, etiquette, effortless style, and also culture, philosophy, all of that good stuff. We'll have a movie night together. We'll read a classic as well at the end. We'll be discussing it in our book club. And if you're watching this video past September 8th, don't worry because all of the calls, all of the courses will be recorded, so you'll be able to watch it in your own timing as well. So feel free to join Mademoiselle Society if this is an experience that you love to be part of. All right, let's get started. Number 1, stop obsessing about purpose or productivity and just live. It is okay to take breaks and to not make your whole life about work. My dad actually is the one who instilled me this philosophy and this mindset ever since I was a child. You know, my dad is all about obviously educational excellence, but he read a book when he was younger about rest and how rest is so important and how you need to take at least one day in the week to actually just rest and detach from work. And ever since, you know, all of my Saturdays, usually I have a full day every single week where I don't do anything. I don't think about work. I don't do work. I just detach completely. Marie Curie, for example, would do this a lot where she would be working on scientific project and she would spend 2 months holiday and vacation with her family, enjoy life, and then come back to it. And it was this whole process of working and detaching and working and detaching. And it's something that I've actually been thinking a lot about and I've talked about in my stories, how film directors, poets, philosophers, amazing writers, they always take time to work on their craft. And they take years, if not decades, to actually master their craft. And then they launch it to the public and everybody just stops and reads what they have to say. You don't need to be constantly obsessing about productivity. Like, it's okay to detach. Please have at least one day where you actually detach from work. And if you can, also evenings, try to detach a little bit. Even if your work is super meaningful, what I do is extremely meaningful to me. I am literally doing what I'm most passionate about, women. I love helping women, but even that, I cannot make my whole identity about work. There's other things in my life that are way more important, like my social life, my family, my hobbies, my health. My whole life cannot just be about work and productivity. Work is only one part of the equation. There's friendships, there's hobbies, there's travel, there's leisure. All of this is what makes a life well lived. You need all of this. You can't idolize work so much that it becomes your whole personality and you lose its essence of it. The French really balance both the seriousness, you know, the philosophy, the ideas, the purpose, with also pragmatism, the practical joys of life. Because what is the point of living if all you do is work, 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 and you don't even see the time pass? You don't even spend time with your friends and family. Literally schedule time with your friends like it's a meeting. And honestly, I think we're talking so much about purpose these days. It's everywhere on social media. Everybody is obsessed with their purpose. Are you walking your purpose? It's just abnormal to be talking about purpose this much. Like, I think you already have a purpose when you're on this earth, and people are trying to overachieve to prove their worth by working, when really a purpose can simply be living life, living life well, serving people, doing things for other people. And actually, I read this article that's called Why the French Don't Obsess Over Purpose. And it says here, in the US, the idea of having purpose is everywhere, in books and podcasts and LinkedIn bios, even in casual brunch conversations. And there's this constant pressure to align your job with your passions, your calendar with your goals, your time with your values. But what if your purpose is simply to build a good life, to raise kind children, to cook a little bit better each day, to read a few excellent books, to notice the seasons, to build meaningful relationships, to help others, to give time and money if you can to causes that you care about? Isn't that what people will remember anyway? We focus so much on the extraordinary that we forget about the ordinary and the things that are in front of us. We want to save the entire country. We want to save and touch a million people, but you can't even speak to your family members. You can't even help your own family members. You can't even help your own friends. Start with that first. Start with that first. And then, you solve a problem for yourself, you solve a problem for your friend, and that actually ripples into something greater and greater. That is exactly how I started Mademoiselle Diaries. I really became so interested in embracing my femininity and elegance in my own personal life, and that actually also inspired the friends around me. And that is when I had a light bulb moment, like, oh, I could be, inspiring more women like this. Maybe I'll use social media to spread this around. But you need to start with what you have in front of you. You can't manufacture things. You can't manufacture things to happen. Purpose is already there. You don't need to prove yourself that you have purpose. Don't obsess about productivity, purpose. It's such a buzzword. And actually in this article, it also says how in French, there's no really big translation for purpose because it's not really a word that we use. The closest to the word purpose would be raison d'être, which is your meaning behind existing, basically. So that's basically like purpose. But even that, the connotation of raison d'être is actually more practical, more utilitarian, and it's something that philosophers used to ponder about. And it's not this buzzword. Nobody actually really uses that word in everyday conversations because it is something that, again, is personal, but it is something that it's a given. Like, you are born with a purpose. You don't need to try to prove to the world that you have purpose. You already have it. And sometimes it's just about living life well and just enjoying the ordinary moments. I want to read you, ladies, this poem that is called Do Not Ask Your Children to Strive by William Martin. It says, do not ask your children to strive for extraordinary lives. Such striving may seem admirable, but it is the way of foolishness. Help them instead to find the wonder and the marvel of an ordinary life. Show them the joy of tasting tomatoes, apples, and pears. Show them how to cry when pets and people die. Show them the infinite pleasure in the touch of a hand, and make the ordinary come alive for them. The extraordinary will take care of itself. Start with the ordinary, start with savoring the ordinary, and the extraordinary will come. This kind of leads me to my next point, which is the art of presence. And this is something that I admit it is hard to do in 2025. With AirPods available, you're constantly multitasking. I've talked about this extensively in my video called The Art of Stillness. I think it is a quality that is honestly so important today. If you want to rebel in 2025, really embrace stillness, because everybody is always doing 2 to 3 things at once, and it is something that is quite concerning. The fact that we always have to check our phones whenever there is a waiting time is concerning. That's not how we evolved as humans. You're not meant to be having your AirPods every single hour of the day or every time you walk out the door. Actually try to listen to the sounds of life. Don't miss out on life. I really suggest you ladies try to practice monotasking and really focusing on one task at a time. When you do your makeup, next time try to just, have nothing in the background, or maybe play some jazz in the background, but just try to do one thing at a time. You cannot go about your life doing multitask. Like it doesn't work. Your brain cannot multitask. It's not efficient when you're multitasking. And I really want you to bring presence and intention for every task that you have. And trust me, every single task, every single ordinary moment will become extraordinary. Suddenly you're eating and you can taste all of the flavors because you're present and you're not on your phone or doing whatever. Like, actually really sit down with each task and it will become extraordinary. This is something that I truly appreciate about the French culture, is because they really prioritize quality time and they really prioritize these kinds of rituals. For example, lunches. When I was working in this marketing agency in Paris, the lunches would be 2 hour long. We would go out to the terrace and have a nice meal, especially when the weather is nice. Everybody's like going out, okay, let's go have a 2 hour long lunch, and everybody's talking with each other. It's this whole ritual of just loving each other's presence, and everyone is super present. Nobody's on their phone. And even though I actually didn't really enjoy my work there, I actually really enjoyed my time there because of the people around me. And I realized, like, wow, it's not just about work. Sometimes, like, the colleagues and the people around you can really make a big difference. Again, it is only when you cultivate true presence that you're able to build these kinds of social connections. And in France, social connections is central to fulfillment, and it is often valued more than the work in itself. Another example would be meals. Meals, especially in the French countryside where my grandparents live, it's a whole experience. We have the entrée, we have the plat, which is like the main course, and then after that we have fromage, so the cheese, and then dessert. It's like a whole experience. And honestly, some of our meals could last from 2 hours, 3 hours. It's a lot, and at the time I would always wonder, like, why do we have to stay so long at the table? But now, growing up and as I mature, I realize, like, these times are so meaningful, and I love that, the meal times are so sacred for them. And okay, let's dedicate 2 hours to just enjoy each other's presence. So whatever you do, whether you're applying makeup, you're preparing coffee, you're showering, anything that you do in a day-to-day, try to really focus on it, and your mind will feel so much more rested. And with doing one task at a time, you will actually find such joy and pleasure in things like music. You listen to music and suddenly you actually want to pay attention to the music, all the notes, and I swear, extraordinary, like the poem says, it will take care of itself. Next secret is to embrace the charm of imperfection. A lot of people wonder where the effortless elegance comes from. Like, where does the effortlessness come from? And it actually comes from imperfection. And by imperfection, I mean having that human touch. So maybe a slightly undone bun, or when you're done showering, you don't need to constantly blow dry it and make it look, super presentable. But sometimes I just like air drying it, and like right now it's air dried. It's not the most perfect, but I love that it adds a human touch. Or even when you're applying lipstick, in French we say bouche mordue, so the translation would be bitten lip. So you just apply red lipstick like this, and then you tap, 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 and it looks like a bitten lip, and it looks like you just kissed someone. And it adds this almost mystery to it, this allure, this charm. The point is really not to look like everybody else and to follow other people's makeup and to look super snatched and overline everything, contour everything, highlight everything. No, the point is to actually reveal authenticity, which with also a touch of mystery, and that is what makes a look so charming. For example, a Barbie doll, it is pretty, but it is not charming because there's no imperfection to it. Fourth is to flirt with life. What does it mean to flirt with life? To flirt with life means to approach life with a playful, carefree, and engaged attitude. You show curiosity and a willingness to have fun. Like, just having that openness, that receiving energy. I think it's such a big part of femininity is your ability to receive. I would say just be so present in every day. Literally every single time that you walk outside in a city, it can be such an experience. I remember I came to the city that I used to live in Perth, Australia, for holidays. I visited it for holiday. And this time around, I was more in a holiday attitude, so I didn't really feel too much stress. I had this openness within me. When you're on holiday, you're suddenly just more talkative with strangers, and you're so much more open. And I was complimenting people complimented me in the streets, and I really felt like I was in this experience with everyone else in the city, and I wasn't alone. And that's the beauty of being open. Like suddenly, even just a walk in the city can feel so inviting, so warm. And I compare that when I actually used to live there and I used to work there. I would go through the city, I would always have my AirPods in, I would always have my head down, be so cold, always rushing, and my experience is different, but the city has not changed. It's only me that changed. So bring that holiday mode everywhere that you go. Flirt with life, flirt with spontaneity. I know that especially as women, we are taught to be super hyper independent, to be super cold, to not engage with anyone, with strangers. But actually, I've done that so much, and I've realized like I was really closing off myself from the world, and my days were just cold with no warmth. And I know that as women, we need to protect ourselves. I would say that it shouldn't be your default mode. You shouldn't be in protect mode constantly. Flirting with life doesn't mean you're naive, but it just means that you have this default of being open with people. Just try to smile to people, try smiling to strangers, and you will see your days will be so much brighter. Next French secret is movement as a way of living. In Paris, if I have to get to a destination and I see it's walkable in 45 minutes, I would take the walk. I would rather walk 45 minutes than to be underground in a metro for 15 or 20 minutes. It's much more scenic outside. Obviously, Paris is a walkable and also beautiful city, so people are actually encouraged to walk. I'm very much aware that in a lot of cities, you're not able to do that. But if you live in a city where you can actually walk and it's scenic around you, definitely try to prioritize that. Just incorporate movement as a way of living rather than sitting down for most of the day and then just moving 1 hour when you're at the gym. You're doing these intense exercises. Trust me, I used to do that a lot. I used to be a very big gym rat. If you ladies don't know, I used to do strength training and I loved tracking my PRs each time. But then I came to a point where I was actually burning myself out and I did not enjoy going to the gym. I actually dreaded it because it became all about the statistics, about the performance. And your body actually at the end of the day, it just needs movement. Your body is not supposed to stay immobile most of the day and then you pushing yourself beyond its capacity for 45 minutes at the gym, lifting its heaviest weight. I mean, gyms at the end of the day is a rather new invention in the world. Nobody needed gyms before because we always walked everywhere. But I do understand the necessity of gyms. I still go to the gym or just listen to my body, to love and care for my body. Sometimes I'm actually craving an intense workout and I would do it. Sometimes I want to run. Sometimes I just want to do a slow at-home workout. But I really just make sure that it is for my body and I'm not working against my body. Really try to embrace it in your day to day, even 20 minutes at home. You will start to actually love and crave working out. I personally have come to a stage where I love working out. I actually crave my workouts. It's not something that I dread. And we've come a long way because I used to dread working out. Lastly, the French secret to a life that is lived well is to always have this curiosity. The French charm is also intellectual. It's all about reading, enjoying art. Art is such a big thing in France. It's really subsidized by the government. Discussing ideas and philosophical ideas, that's all about the French charm. It's intellectual as well. And that's why in the 4-week French elegance experience, I made a whole week dedicated to this where we'll be talking all about books and the philosophy. Culture and conversation, reading classics are considered as important as beauty. Your intellect is really, really important in France. And I think this is why in French system, the school system, we had to take philosophy class quite early on. Like when we're 16, we're already reading philosophical books. We had philosophy exams. And the exam would be one question, and then you would have 4 hours to answer. You would have to really dive deep into this philosophical question. I really think that it's ingrained in the French culture. You really to embrace critical thinking and philosophy, read philosophy. And I always say to you ladies, like really embrace the classics. You will really start to develop a critical mind. This is exactly how I develop a more critical mind. it's all through books, all through books. And I read different ways of thinking, different philosophies, and then I kind of made my own. And everyone in France is always reading. Whenever I'm at the metro, there's always people reading. Whenever I'm in a terrace, there's always people reading everywhere. It's really, really ingrained in the culture. Elegance starts with the mind, ladies. Being elegant is about being interesting too, not just looking good. Looking good can get you out the door, but what actually makes you stay, make people interested in you, is your mind. All right, my beautiful ladies, that is it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any other lessons or even secrets to living well in your own country. I'm so curious to hear what we can learn from other countries in the world. Again, if you want to join the French elegance experience and to become a modern mademoiselle, that starts in September 8th. Join Mademoiselle Society today. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.